Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where we take a look at those top stories making headlines every Monday to Thursday. And as always, we do it in conjunction with our partners, Lay of the Land. And what can I say? I like to join my incredible Israel briefers from all around the world, from all over South Africa to Sydney, Australia, to Vancouver, Canada, Trinidad and Tobago, Northern Ireland, the Highlands of Scotland, and everywhere in between. I like to join you all either for breakfast, for dinner, or for a cup of tea. Tea tastes so much better when it's in your good company. Now, it is Wednesday, which means I'm going to remind you to get those mentions and morons over to me as quickly as possible. The list is growing. Now, if I forget your mensch or moron tomorrow, please just send me another message and remind me to include it next week. So get those thinking caps on, guys. Let's get those mentions and morons in. And a reminder that if you have any questions that you would like answered, please pop it in the comments section below or be in touch with us via our Facebook page or via our website. So now, joined by my cup of tea and by the neighborhood dog, let's take a look at those top stories. It is day 516 and we still have 59 hostages who remain captive in the Gaza Strip. Bring them home now. In fact, what we should be saying is release all of them without exception now. So let's start with the top story, and the new IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, was sworn in today. He will replace the outgoing IDF Chief Herzi Halevi, who resigned as taking responsibility for the failures that led to the 7th of October attacks. Now, a lot of the top commanders that led units that were relevant to the areas most hit have tendered their resignation. In his inaugural speech, Lieutenant General Zamir said that he will lead the IDF to victory. After the ceremony, the two visited the Western Wall. It's very moving to see the images of our military leaders visiting that most holy of holy places in the Jewish religion. The Shin Bet, or Shabak as you might know them as, released their inquiry findings into the failures of October the 7th yesterday, and I will read to you some of the major findings. They found that Hamas operatives activated 45 Israeli SIM cards, which should have alerted intelligence analysts to the fact that they were mobilizing, but Shin Bet took no major action. Shin Bet's preparations for a possible Hamas action did not account for the possibility of Hamas operating like an efficient military. Many were of the impression that Hamas was a small band of terror groups, and that they actually weren't interested in any kind of conflagration with the state of Israel. If you recall, in May of 2023, we had those few days of escalation with major rocket fire on Israeli cities. That was Palestinian Islamic Jihad and other terror groups. Hamas sat that one out, and the general thought was that Hamas are not interested in any kind of war with the state of Israel. They also found that years of defensive government policy allowed Hamas to grow stronger. Hamas's plan for a wide-scale invasion was known but never treated as a credible, actionable threat. Intelligence gaps between the IDF and Shin Bet harmed the Israeli response. Now, it's very important that these institutions do these inquiries. In fact, in his outgoing remarks, Herzi Halevi said that he calls for a state inquiry. He says not to accuse, but to get to the root of the problem. Yesterday, the Shin Bet chief, Ronen Bar, said that he will step down once all of the hostages had been returned. And the call for a state inquiry is getting louder and louder and louder. And that's actually the subject of our audience question today. But last night, the IDF released more parts of their internal inquiry. They released their findings from the invasions of the kibbutzim, Nachal Oz and Netiv HaAsara. Now, if you want to read these findings and what they put forward, most of the English Israeli publications are covering it. You can find it in the Jerusalem Post or in the Times of Israel, and you can most certainly find it on the IDF website. Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar said yesterday that Israel is open to continuing phase 2 of the ceasefire, but we need assurances from Hamas that they will release more hostages. Now, last night at his address to Congress, the President of the United States, President Trump, was accompanied by 7 hostages, and he says we are working to get all of our hostages back. Meanwhile, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has endorsed the Egyptian plan. The Egyptian plan many of us see as having some significant faults, one of them being not de-radicalizing the Strip and not ensuring that Hamas is no longer a presence in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the US has rejected the Arab League's counter-proposal for the Gaza Strip. And finally, as we speak, Israel is laying to rest Ohad Yahalomi. Ohad is the last of the 4 hostages whose remains were released last week to be laid to rest. Thousands lined the route from where his coffin departed in Rishon LeZion at the National Morgue, way down into kibbutz near Oz, where he and his son Eitan were abducted from. In her eulogy, his wife spoke about the 16 years that they had together, saying that the family missed absolutely everything about him, and they were so sure he would survive captivity. They said, we even thought that just the person you are, even Hamas would have made friends with you. Our love and our prayers are with the Yahalomi family. May the memory of Ohad be eternally blessed. Right, let's take a look at that audience question. And it comes from Quentin in Cape Town. Quentin says, Raleen, do you think Netanyahu will agree to a state inquiry? Well, look, I think he eventually is going to have to. He has said that he is prepared to, investigate once the war is over, but seems very, very reluctant to commit to saying that he will definitely carry out a state inquiry. And it's important that all our institutions do it. The military is doing it, the Shin Bet is doing it, the comptroller is doing it. It's very, very important that from the highest office in the country, that the man right at the top is open to an investigation. And as the outgoing Ramatkal said, it's not to accuse, it's to understand why the problem occurred. And I think, quite honestly, that if no state inquiry is forthcoming, I think you will see Israelis take to the street demanding that a state inquiry happen. We had a letter from the hostage families, including Yarden Bibas, whose beautiful wife Shiri and their 2 gorgeous boys, Kfir and Ariel, were murdered in captivity. He has also called for a state inquiry. So watch the space and let's see what happens. In the meantime, guys, those are our top stories. I don't know what Doggy is weighing in on over there, but I'm going to remind you to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. We are on LinkedIn at Raleen Marks, on Instagram at Raleen_Marks, on X at Lay of the Land 5. And guys, until tomorrow, God bless you all. Take care. Bye for now.